One of the things I thoroughly enjoy is getting to meet new investors who are doing the work and making moves. We've got the one and only DJ with us this morning. How you doing, DJ?
Doing great, doing great. Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, man. Well, do us a favor, introduce the audience to who is DJ, what are you at, what do you invest in, and we'll just kind of unpack your story.
Absolutely. My name's DJ Fry. I'm in Vancouver, Washington, and Portland, Oregon. Most of my investing, actually, all of my current properties are in Vancouver now. Been in the real estate business for 12 years, actually a little more than that, but investing for about seven. Started I worked a little bit as an appraiser, then got into being an agent. Then I saw all my best clients, or I guess, clients who had the cool lifestyles were all investors, and thought I need to learn what they're doing. Was a
That's a
little bit
sign, huh? That's a sign.
exactly. I was a little timid at first, and then the more I got to be around them, the more I kind of picked up what they were doing and started implementing myself. And yeah, and here I am.
Very cool. Well, I want to ask a little bit about that transition from being an appraiser to being an agent. I assume in Washington, becoming an appraiser it's a process. You got to be mentored and it's licensing and all of that. Is that true? What does it take to become an appraiser?
Yeah, so it does. So you got to be an apprentice for 2 years. You got to work under somebody who's licensed. It's like 2 years and 4,000 hours, I believe. Or at the time it was. It might have changed by now.
Sure.
So I got into that. So honestly, I was kind of lost. I graduated college and it was kind of right around the financial crisis. Jobs were hard to come by. I didn't know what I wanted to do. Bounced around a few things, and my dad was actually an appraiser for over 30 years. So I just worked for him temporarily, not temporarily, for a little while, and it just wasn't for me. Like, I knew that pretty quickly.
Okay.
So it was
All
it was
right.
more of a short-term thing. It was kind of, it's a great job, but it's just kind of boring for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think being an appraiser is an interesting one because it does give you an inside look on comping properties and seeing what value add is and all of that. But you're right. I couldn't imagine doing that every day. That would be rough.
Yeah, even my dad was told me that. He's like, hey, you know, this is not what you want to do your whole life.
Yeah.
Uh,
There you go.
you can do better. So
All right. Well, then you transition. Sounds like you go from being an appraiser to being a licensed agent. Did I have that right?
yeah, so another way I was fortunate is while I was working for him, there was the floor below. There were some guys that were agents that were also investors that, were pulling up in cool cars and leaving work early, and doing all that stuff. So I got to chat with them a little bit, learn what they were doing, and that, and thought, wow, this seems like a cooler job to me. Um, so I just
Very
decided to
cool.
go get licensed and start doing it.
Okay.
And
All right. Well, then, so you get excited about real estate investing. You have some at least contacts, if not maybe mentors later, who show you what's possible, kind of the end results. But how did you dip your toe in the water? What was that first deal like?
investing.
Yep.
So the first deal, I had it was a flip I did actually. I should have kept it as a rental. I should have kept everything I've ever owned, of course, but um,
Yeah.
that that was the first one. I had looked. I started going on Bigger Pockets, networked and with a few people, and just started talking to wholesalers. And pretty quickly, a deal came across my desk that looked really good, and I thought, wow, this is a no brainer. I can make some money on this. It was real easy, just paint, carpet, basic
And
land.
DJ, what year was this? Sorry.
So I'm sorry, this was in 2016,
All right. So
or sorry,
2016,
2017. I think it
17.
was
Okay.
very beginning of 2017.
All right. So you're the market's good. It's not crazy. So was this a wholesaler that brought you a deal?
Correct. Yes, it was a
Okay.
wholesaler. Just emailed me over a deal. I talked to him on the phone, kind of told him what I was looking for, and relatively quickly he sent me something that fit it.
Wow. All right.
And
So
pulled the trigger.
so you pulled the trigger. So was it clean enough to get bank financing? Did you have to go get private money, hard money? Did you have dad's money for cash or how'd you
No.
finance it?
So I actually did have, I had a fair amount of money saved up at the time. And I was able to cash out most of it. I did borrow hard money for about half of it.
Okay.
But yeah, I just did it on my own.
Okay. All right. So again, you find a deal. You have what's called a buy box. You tell the wholesaler what your buy box is. They find something that fits it. Your intention at this point is to flip it, it sounds like.
It is. It
Okay.
is.
All right.
And one of the other agent friends that I have who I mentioned before, is a little bit older than me. When I was done with it and I put it on the market, he was like, I'm actually pissed off at you that you're selling this. You're stupid for selling it.
Yeah, we are still. So let's go through the numbers. What do you remember what you bought it at?
I do. I bought it at 180, um,
Wow.
which is laughable to say now with where pricing is here.
Yeah.
So I bought it for 180. I put $8,000 into it. I just
Oh,
repainted the inside and recarpeted it. Um,
wow.
it was done quickly, did some
Okay.
random handyman stuff here and there.
Sure.
Uh, and then I put it on the market at 250 and ended up getting 255 for it.
Wow. So you're in and out of the deal in less than 6 months?
Less than 2 months. I mean, well, I guess I should less than 3 months. I guess the rehab only took less
Weeks.
than a
Yeah.
month, and then
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
sale. I did have one sale fail, so I think I probably held it 90 days.
All right. So you get into a deal. You realize you don't like to be an appraiser. You get your license. You see some guys driving cool cars and having fun. You now have proof of concept that you can make, let's call it 40 grand after all expenses and hard money fees. Um, that's got to be a pretty exciting moment.
It was. It definitely was because there had been other deals I had come across that I had just given to clients and saw how well they were doing on them. But to finally do it myself and get kind of over that hurdle,
Mhm.
at that point I was like, okay, I can do this, and I
Yeah.
kind of been doing it steadily ever since.
I do have to ask because you kind of brought it up. What would that house go for today? Just ballpark it.
So I actually know exactly because one just went on the market and went pending. I guess I don't know what it closed at, but that one went list or they listed it for 399.9 and it went pending
All
within
right.
3 days. So I'm odds are it's
All right.
probably a little higher than that, but
Yeah.
roughly
So call
400,000.
it 400. Yeah.
Yeah, 400.
All right. Well, what do they rent for? I have no idea what rents are up there. So,
So rent there would be about $2,400 a month. You might be able to get 25. You might end up at 23, but that's
all
about
right,
right.
somewhere out there. All
Yep.
right. So if you would have bought it for what was it, 180, you put 10 in, it would have been a solid rental if you kept it.
Absolutely. Yeah. It
Yeah.
would have been a
Okay.
great rental. And it wasn't that old of a unit either. So it's very functional floor plan, very, there wouldn't have been any big CapEx things that have
Yeah.
happened, I wouldn't think.
All right. All right. So, but now you're a young man. You've now got the proof of concept that you can make 40 grand. You know your market. You have evidence. Um, where do you go next? Is this still kind of a side hustle where you do one at a time? Does it ever become your main hustle, or where does the story go there, DJ?
So it stayed as a side hustle. At the time I was doing very well as an agent and I liked that part of the business. That's changed a bit now, but yeah, it was one of those things where I'd do one where I could, but it was like 2 to 4 a year at that
Okay.
point. From there, I actually transitioned to kind of doing new construction
Oh,
uh, a little bit and I actually built a couple homes on infill lots. I mean, I say build loosely. I
yeah.
hired a builder to do it for me.
Yeah. You bought the lot, paid someone to build it. I got
Exactly.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So people say that, but I always want to make sure
Yeah.
I, clarify that. So I started doing that on the side as well.
Okay. Well, tell
And
me about that. I've never done that. I mean, I have bought a couple of lots when things were crazy on sale, but I've never actually built anything. So tell me about that process.
yeah, so I actually kind of stumbled into it on accident. I met a builder about my age. He was a younger guy, a couple years younger than me. And I met him through a friend and he said, try to find me some lots. I want to build stuff. Basically, I would try to find him dirt. He would build it and I would just get listings when they were done.
Okay.
And then I found him a plat that had 16 lots and he just wasn't in a financial place to do it all. However, the seller didn't want to split up the lots.
Hmm.
So I started calling investors I knew that bought rentals and said, hey, what price do you need to be at? If I can get you a deal, could you pay cash for the lot? You'll get delivered a brand new turnkey home in, 9, 10 months.
Right.
Um, so was able to work that out with him. And I think he did 10 and I sold 6. So pre-sold
Nice.
and then got the list backs on those. But all my investors were thrilled. They got great deals. And by the time they were done, prices had gone up, rents had gone up, and they could pull their money out and not leave much in them. And it was another instance where I was like, why didn't I do that myself?
Yeah.
But I still did good on it. But so then the next time around, a similar situation came up and I did do it. So I just did one at that time, and I had picked up a couple other rentals in the meantime.
Okay.
And so I did one with him, and then I really started liking it. We ended up doing two more. I sold those. They were a little higher end homes. They weren't really in that rental price point.
Hmm.
And it was going great. And then in 2019, I decided to ramp it up a bit. I had 4 homes under construction
Wow.
at the end of the year, all pre-sold. One of them was a higher end home with an ADU. Another one I should have kept, but at a pretty high price point. But it was about the most I had going on at a time. And then March comes and COVID hits.
Yeah. The world
And
stops.
world stops, and I had all 4 of these homes pre-sold. All 4 buyers walk away, back out.
Wow. Okay.
I'm super nervous, thinking,
Sure.
okay, like, I mean, I was in a good spot at the time. I wasn't going to be like broke, but I was like, I might have set myself back a lot of years here, thinking that, not knowing what was going to happen. And then sure enough, everything kind of calmed down,
Hmm.
and I put the homes back on the market, ended up getting more money for all of them.
Yeah.
You know,
That's, I know a couple of people that did that. They kept the deposits on the first deals when they backed out, and then they sold them for higher amounts to the
yeah,
next buyer.
yeah. And unfortunately, I didn't get to keep the deposits.
Oh no.
Well, just because of COVID, what was going
Sure.
on, it was kind of a gray area. And,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
first couple that called me, it was a nice younger couple I had met, with their first kid on the way. I'm like, I'm not going to take their money.
No, good for you.
So,
Karma. Good karma.
yeah, so I didn't get to keep anything, but it ended up paying off because, it worked out good. However, construction costs had went through the roof. And in the last 5 years, in my area in Vancouver, my market, all the national builders have now come to town and kind of
Aha.
taken over. So that got to be a little bit tougher of a space to do what I was doing in.
Hmm.
But it's still possible, but it just wasn't
Sure.
as easy. So
Yeah, one of the things that people like, you got to know your market, your buy box, your area. The market, there are opportunities to make money. You just got to move with the market. And it sounds like you're doing that. I do want to go back in time. You said you picked up a couple of rentals along the way. So you started doing flips. Then it sounds like you had a rental or two, and then you did new construction. Let's go back to the rentals. What was that like?
yeah, so again, I was back to the same thing where I'd been selling rentals and watching my clients do well. And then a really fortunate opportunity came up for me where a great friend of mine in the business called me. He had a client, was a builder, back right when the economy crashed, and he had ended up having to keep like 30 homes.
Mm,
And he had something worked out, but he had a balloon payment coming due, but they were all leased up, and
yep.
he needed to sell a few of them to pay off this balloon. He needed to sell like 12 of them, but they
Okay.
were all occupied, and the homes were about 10 years old. I guess a little less than that, but they were in great shape. They were really good rentals, but especially at that time, selling an occupied home by a
Yeah.
tenant is a little challenging. So the guy just needed to get rid of them. So I basically worked a deal out with him. I said, if I can sell these all for you, can you come down on price? We can get somebody to buy all of them. He said, absolutely.
Okay.
I ended up having to piece it together. So I ended up buying, I decided to buy one for myself, and I started calling my friends and investors, and they were all saying yes, but it was like, I'll take 2, I'll take
Uh,
3. And then
okay.
one of my best clients, he was really happy about it. And he's like, are you buying, are you going to buy one? I said, yeah. And he's like, you're gonna just one? I was like, yeah, I think just one to, see how it goes. And then after talking to him, I thought about it, and I ended up buying 2 of them.
Good for
So,
you.
and it worked out perfect because really the money I was getting paid as a commission, I didn't really have to come out of pocket for much. I basically just rolled it into the deals.
Right.
One of which I actually bought as a primary for the one
Hmm.
year, got great owner financing on, had to put less down than I did a 25% down investment loan on the other.
Okay.
But it was perfect. And I got to handpick the 2 best units. One was the model home that was
Called
really
up.
nice.
Yeah.
And so I bought those, I bought two at a time, two at once, I guess, to get started. And, you know, which
Nice.
I'm very happy I bought two. I wish I would have bought more, like, like obviously everybody would say, but,
Yeah.
uh, and it worked out great. A couple friends I even talked into buying their first rentals on that particular deal and worked out great
Nice.
for them. They still own them. They're probably, I paid, the price was like 240 a
Hmm.
house, and at the time they were probably worth 280.
Hmm.
Today they're worth 420 probably.
Oh, wow. Very
Um,
nice.
and rent is, yeah. I just re-rented one of them and got 2550 a month, and the other one I've had a longer term tenant in there. I think she's paying 2400.
Okay. Nice. Nice. All right. So we go through the new construction phase. It sounds like we're in 2020 at this point. Where does DJ go next?
So I got a little nervous. That though I should have started keeping stuff, but I was a little bit hesitant, even though looking back on it with where rates were, I kind of disappointed in myself for that. Seems like a no-brainer now, but I just so I sold those off. I did a couple more flips, one more new build, but really I just focused on selling homes. The market was red hot. Was
Yeah,
doing good
especially in
at
your
that.
area.
It was, and it was, so I basically just kind of focused on that. And it also, the market was so hot, it made getting deals so hard that I just felt like, this probably, I should just make as much money as I can selling houses, not chase around these deals that aren't really going anywhere too often.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I was still investing, but not quite as much.
Right.
I did, but I did slowly pick up, another rental here and there over that time.
Hmm.
I bought a couple townhomes. They were new construction. I guess not, they weren't brand new, but close to new construction.
Right.
That just really, I just looking at the numbers at the time, I didn't feel like they were, a steal of a deal or anything like that, but they penciled well. They're new. They're not going to have any issues. Kind of just
Right.
a safe, secure place to park some money.
Hmm.
Um, and then I bought another place in a really good location about 2 years ago. It's in the downtown part of where I live, and it's the only time I've ever bought anything that I've bought it off the MLS and paid over list price for.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
and it's the only time in my career I've done anything even close to that. But it's a corner lot, and it's got a separate detached garage with a separate driveway. It's just basically perfect for an ADU.
Yeah.
Uh, so I'm actually hopefully going to be building that ADU this year. I had a insurance tenant that had a home fire, need a place to live, so I moved him in there thinking it'd be 6 months. It ended up being like 20 months.
Oh, wow.
So, which was great, but it kind of
Yeah.
delayed the ADU. So,
Sure.
hopefully that'll happen this year. But that's kind of my next thing, is trying to figure out the ADU route, because I feel like
Very
you got to
cool.
get creative today.
Yeah, Derek, that ADU guy is an amazing resource. If you haven't looked him up, he's a tremendous resource and friend of the channel. So where do you go next, DJ? It sounds like it sounded like earlier you made a comment that maybe being a real estate agent full time is less sexy than it used to be.
Yeah, so I've definitely dialed that back. I'm focusing more on investing now, just doing flips and rolling that into rentals. I'm kind of exploring the idea of looking out of state, because just numbers here are challenging right now. But I made an offer on a place that verbally was accepted. I'm waiting for the contract today. I'm supposed to get it.
Nice.
Um, so I think I'm going to focus more on doing flips and new construction.
Okay.
I do have one new build I'm JVing with a builder on right now. We're about to start construction, so I'm kind of focused more on that versus being an agent, and then
Mhm.
building the portfolio over time is still the main goal.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, what words of advice you have for maybe someone who is an agent? One of the things that's always, yeah, I'll say it, shocked me is that more agents don't own rentals. I've never really understood that.
I agree. Even I have a lot of friends that are in the business that have, done just as well as I have at the business, but they've never bought a single rental.
Mm.
Spent their money on other stuff, and it's, as we get
The
older,
toys, the toys,
yeah,
the flash.
right, and those financial mistakes, every year older I get, the more magnified they become, and the differences in choices become really evident.
Yeah.
When the market slowed down, a year and a half ago, you found out quick who had been smart with their money and who hadn't. And but as far as like advice for agents, I would say work with investors, um, network, meet all the wholesalers in your area. And kind of like I mentioned, a really good way to get business is to meet local builders and that are
Mm,
smaller, where you can add value to them. You can help them find financing, you can help them find land. Because at the end of the day, if you're helping their business, they're happy to take care of you and make sure you're compensated
yeah.
well. But you have to provide something to them and be valuable to them. If you're just calling them looking for listings, they're not going to take your call.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I mean, one of the things that I did not understand for 5 years is it's a relationship business. And it takes effort, right? You got to add value and it'll come back to you.
Absolutely. And I can say that all, everything every bit of success I've had has been because of relationships. I've been very lucky to meet some great people at the right time, and they've introduced me to others. But if I would have just been doing it on my own and not networking and not met those people, I would definitely not be anywhere near where I am now. And
Yeah.
that's the way I was
Well,
told.
one question I just came to me is it seems like you've done a very, very good job of building and buying and generating a bunch of equity. What do you think, DJ, about leveraging your equity to buy more stuff? Are you keeping it there because it's nice cash flow? How do you think of equity, using or not using equity?
Yeah, so I'm definitely a little on the conservative side, but I am at a point where I'm ready to buy something else and possibly something bigger. It does look like there should be some. We're already starting to see some multifamily opportunities, but it does look
Nice.
like that's coming. So I'm saving for that, and I definitely am kind of trying to position some things so I can use the equity that I have to buy stuff like that. I do plan on doing that. Yeah, I've been open to it, but I'm really going to get serious about it this year and just making sure all my ducks are in a row and that I'm prepared so that I can pull the trigger when I get that call for a great opportunity, whether it's a
Yeah.
small subdivision or multifamily or whatever it is. That's definitely something.
Yeah, the multifamily pain is coming. The 5 to 40 units, they overpaid, bad assumptions, bad debt structures. And if you have equity in residential stuff with fixed rate debt, the beauty you could 1031 in is pretty fantastic.
That's what I'm hoping to do. And it's already happening here. Even there was a large apartment complex. I can't recall how many doors it was, but in a prime A plus, probably the best location we have here in the Vancouver area. They just went back to the bank and it was like they owed 36 million or something on it, and just
Jeez.
just gave it was new construction. Didn't even they just gave the keys back, and um,
It's coming, folks. It's coming.
yeah, the question is when. But yeah, like you mentioned, kind of leveraging what I have and using that is definitely the next step because
That's
uh,
awesome.
I feel like there's going to be opportunity, and I've missed out on too many opportunities in the past, so I don't want to. I want to do less of that as I get
I want
further
to do
into.
less missing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, who doesn't, right?
That's awesome. Well, DJ, if somebody wanted to reach out, follow you, maybe buy or sell in Vancouver, how do they follow you or reach out?
Yeah. Reach out to me anytime. You can email me. It's super easy. It's just dj@djfry.com. Fries Fry. You can follow me on Instagram and direct message me there. Happy to chat real estate with anybody anytime. It's just at DJ Fry. It's DJ
There you
Fry.
go.
So
DJ,
yeah.
you're amazing, man. Thank you for doing this. It's fun to see you going from being an appraiser to an agent to buy and hold to new construction. A lot of fun, man. I appreciate you. Congrats. Keep doing the work.
Hey, thank you, and thanks for everything. I really enjoyed watching you over the years and kind of having like a level head and good advice, and not all the skies falling crap you see out there. So yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for having me.
Oh, you got it. Thank you, buddy.
Hey, take care.